Okay, so let's talk about the graph of y equals kx squared. We did some examples with y equals kx squared, figuring out the rate of change. Now let's specifically focus on that graph. All of the graphs in the family of curves with the equation y equals kx squared with k not equal to 0 are parabolas. So if you were to graph anything in that form, it would look like a parabola. And parabola is basically a smiley face or a frown graph. You can see those both down below. No matter what the value is chosen for k, the parabola passes through the point 0, 0. And you can see that 0, 0 in both of those. This point is the parabola's vertex. With each parabola, the y-axis is called the line of symmetry. That's like the mirror image line, that y-axis. If you look at that graph, it looks the same on either side of that y-axis for both the smiley face parabola and the frowning face parabola. The domain of the function with the equation y equals kx squared is the set of all real numbers. When k is greater than 0, the range is a set of non-negative real numbers. And the graph of the function is a parabola that opens up. And that's what we're looking at on this left graph. The parabola opens up, it looks like a smiley face. The domain is all the real numbers, so all the x values, that's the domain. And the range is all the positive real numbers, the non-negatives. In which case, the vertex of the parabola is its minimum point. That's the lowest point on that graph. There's not going to be any points below that. When k, and this should say k is less than 0, so if you're multiplying that x squared by a number less than 0, the range is the set of non-positive real numbers. In other words, your range, your y-axis, it's all the numbers less than 0. You can see why that graph is below the x-axis, because all the y numbers are negative, non-positive. And the parabola opens down like a frown, in which case the vertex is its maximum point. That vertex is the highest point it's going to be on that graph. If you look at the labeling down below these graphs, it shows all of that. So for the graph on the left, y equals kx squared, k is greater than 0. So when k is a number greater than 0 and it's multiplied by x squared, that graph is going to open up. It's going to be a smiley face parabola. The domain is the set of all real numbers, and the range is the set of all non-negative reals. When you have a parabola opening down, that's when y equals kx squared when k is less than 0. So you multiply a number times x squared that is less than 0. And you're going to have a frowning graph. The domain is still the same, but the range is the set of non-positive reals. So it's going to be all the numbers below the x-axis, the non-positives, the negatives, in other words. Make sure you can know both of those and you can identify both of those.